It's time for Steven's A-List, the top 5 teams in the NFL this week. Let's get right to it. Let's go to number 5. Who do I got? The Chicago Bears. I got to give them love. Why? Because the defense is big time. Khalil Mack is back in the midst. I'm still not sold on Mitchell Trubisky, but I love Tariq Cohen. I love Howard. I love what I'm seeing from these guys. They got a whole bunch of potential. We're going to stick them in the top 5, particularly since the Los Angeles Chargers lost to the Denver Broncos. That's where I'm at with it. Let's go to number 4 on the list. You know what time it is. My Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben Roethlisberger playing like an all-pro, playing like a future Hall of Famer. He doesn't have just one, but 2 number 1 wide receivers in Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. Le'Veon Bell gone, so what? James Conner is in there. The offensive line is protecting them, and lo and behold, they actually got a secondary that looks like a secondary right now. And they look taller than Dominique Foxworth. But I'll get to that in a second. Let's go to number 3 on the list, the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost. We know how elite they are. We know how big time they are. But when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs defensively, giving up 54 points, you gave up 54 points. I mean, just come on, fellas. You got to get it together there. But Patrick Mahomes is big time. 5 turnovers. You got to hold on the ball a little bit too long, but we'll get to that another day. Let's go to number 2 on the list, the Rams. Why? Because they won this game, because they beat the Chiefs, because they only got 1 loss on the season, because Gurley, they did it without him having a big game. Wood stepped up, Cook stepped up. Goff is something special. And by the way, they have playmakers on defense, even if they don't have a great defense. Got to give them love. But the number 1 team in the NFL, we all know what time it is. It's Drew Brees. Notice I said Drew Brees. I didn't say the Saints. I said Drew Brees.
The Rams, I think, are getting a lot of hype, deservedly so. But I do think that you're right about the Saints, but for the wrong reasons. Okay. Drew Brees is fantastic, but Alvin Kamara is the straw that stirs the drink on that offense. I love Alvin Kamara and what he does for that offense. And Drew Brees is a great quarterback who's super accurate, as you mentioned, but he's benefiting a lot from the help that he has around him. And your idea about the Bears, I think putting him at 5 is right. And you brought up the issue of Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky is awesome at throwing screens. 5 of his touchdowns so far this year are screen passes. You ask him to throw for 10-plus yards down the field. He has 8 interceptions when he throws for 10-plus yards down the field. Wow. And 49% completion percentage at that range. So You can't believe in Mr. Trubisky. You're relying on that defense to make things happen. Your list is okay, though.
This is one of those lists where I'd love to have an argument for the sake of an argument. But this list kind of writes itself this week. The Saints have to be 1. The Rams have to be 2. The Chiefs have to be 3. At 4 and 5, someone might pick up and say something like Patriots. Don't forget about the Patriots. They haven't played very well recently, but they're the Patriots.
They just got beat up by Tennessee, though.
I understand, but they're 7-3 Patriots. I agree with the Steelers at 4, and I agree with the Bears at 5. I will say this. The jury's out on Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
The jury's out. We don't know.
Absolutely.
We know the defense is real. But the jury's out on the quarterback. However, which way is it trending? It's trending in the right direction for him. If you said, is his stock holding or ticking up right now, I'd say, or ticking down, I would say the stock is ticking up on Trubisky. I will say this also. The San Diego Chargers, I believe in.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Sorry, I did it again. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Chargers.
They know what you mean.
The Los Angeles Chargers, I believe in more than the Bears. And they have wins like Seattle on the road. They've beaten Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But the way they just lost, the way it's like, I don't really believe yet in Mitchell Trubisky. I, for some stupid reason, still believe in Phillip Rivers. But at a certain point in his career, you're going to have to say the Chargers keep inventing ways to lose in very Chargers kind of way.
Melvin Gordon,
and Phillip Rivers has always been the quarterback.
I told it to Melvin Gordon when he showed up. Phillip Rivers say all the stuff that you wanted, you call him future Hall of Fame, all you want to. They missed the playoffs 7 times in the last 8 years. 7 times in the last 8 years, the great Phillip Rivers has not been in the postseason.
That was a bad interception.
Let's just call it what it is.
Game.
This week, of course, you got to put the Bears at number 5. The Chargers lost. The Patriots lost. Carolina lost. I mean, the teams that would compete with them to get on that top 5 list all lost. And if you're the Chargers, inexcusable loss to Denver. That's playing down to the competition, which is what I told you. They're allergic to prosperity. You look at the Patriots, they got beat up by Tennessee. And, of course, you look at Carolina.
Denver isn't a terrible team.
It is what it is.
I wouldn't necessarily say that the Chiefs are worse than the Rams, though. I know that they lost, but they lost by 3 on the road in a fantastic game.
I'm just saying you can't put them above the Rams right now.
I guess because of they lost. But, I mean, I think it's a little bit lazy, frankly, just to go on that. Like, we are analysts. We're paid to look past the win-loss record. Just because you win or lose.
It's not about laziness. This is about what you're seeing. They got the same malady.
They
both struggle defensively.
I think the Chiefs are better. We see them in the Super Bowl. I'm picking the Chiefs. Neutral field, I think the Chiefs are actually better despite the fact that they lost.
The Chiefs are better than who? The Saints and the Rams?
No, I think the Chiefs are better than the Rams. I think the Saints are the best team.
First of all,
the Saints need another receiver.
You can make that argument, and they only have 2 road losses, both by a field goal, which means neutral, they're even. However, the way the Super Bowl first team to make a defensive play, there were more than that, Rams Chiefs. But the game's on the line. I felt like here it comes, Mahomes about to win the game. He throws an interception in the face of pressure. I think that situation, you got as good as you could feel as a Kansas City fan. If you're forced to pick Rams or Chiefs, I think you got to put Rams ahead of the Chiefs.
So you have more faith. You're saying because you have more faith in golf than Mahomes?
No. Well, no. I'm saying because I have more faith in the Rams' defense than the Chiefs' defense.
I think that's fair. Aaron Donald is absurd. I think he leads the league as defensive tackle in sacks, pressures, and tackles for loss.
Well, then what's the problem?
Which is fantastic.
And it's not just him, by the way, because they were getting pressure all over the place. Uber was getting pressure. Fowler was getting pressure. So I'm just looking at it from the perspective. If you're looking at defense on the side of the Los Angeles Rams, having a few more playmakers, at least at this particular moment in time, and they're getting Aqib Talib back, are you sure that you're that comfortable saying Kansas City would be your favorite?
I think we see a lot of big names, and that means a lot.
I'm talking about production. I'm talking about production.
Well, Talib hasn't produced anything.
No. I'm saying
that's a big name.
I said we're assuming he's coming back and he's coming back healthy. But the other guys are actually on the field and they have produced.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's a 2A, 2B situation, and I would personally pick the Chiefs. And it's because I believe in what the Chiefs do offensively more than I do with the Rams.
But you sound like it's so comfortable, and I'm like, nah, it ain't that comfortable. And by the way, Todd Gurley had 55 yards rushing. You think you putting your money that's going to happen again?
I think that was by design. That wasn't a mistake.